Hello, beautiful people, you're welcome back. A new report coming from Kemi Ashifon Love Heaven is saying that Ooni of Ife's ex-wife, Queen Naomi, is begging the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, to accept her back as the monarch is planning a grand wedding for his latest queen, Queen Mariam. Just as Ooni of Ife's new queen Mariam Ogunwusi is happily settling down in the palace and planning a grand wedding which takes place this coming October, there is pandemonium in the family of the former queen, Prophetess Naomi Ogunseyi. If you are joining us on this channel for the first time, we welcome you and we urge you to please click on the red subscribe button and also the notification bell beside it to get notified when we drop a video. Thank you, God bless you as you do so. The former queen, who unceremoniously left Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, and announced a separation from him on December 23rd, 2021, seems to have realized her mistakes and wants to return as the yeyeluwa of Ile-Ife. Now she has desperately been running from pillar to post, asking for forgiveness from the highly revered monarch to return to her lost glory. But the Ooni of Ife is not ready to have her back in the palace, as Yeyeluwa Naomi has burgled a lifetime opportunity that can never be regained. And sources has exclusively told Kemi Ashifon LoveHeaven.com that the former queen, who has refused to drop the royal surname Ogunwusi, initially put up an affront on social media against the king and Netos of Ile-Ife. Though her Instagram profile still boasts her former position as queen, and she was painting the picture of being the victim of abuse to her large followers who constantly hurled insults at the king. But the former queen, who has become an Instagram celebrity since her marriage to the king in 2018, put up her antics again some weeks ago when she took to Instagram and shared a post that she was assaulted and harassed by the Deputy Commissioner of Police at the Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 17 in Nakuru, Ondo State. And she also granted an interview to BBC on this issue. But it was later discovered that her brother Agbenro allegedly swindled some contractors who were working on the project which belonged to the Ooni and Agbenro Ogunseyi. The Ooni Ogunseyi was put in charge. They decided dragging him to an Nakuru police station in order to retrieve their unpaid funds from him. But Naomi quickly posted it on Instagram with the intention of making the Ooni appear as the unseen finger behind her family's ordeal, as she was also stated that her brother Agbenro was harassed because of her. So she said, why is she begging the Ooni to accept her back? Why is she asking him to forgive her? Now that Queen Mariam has become the official yeyeluwa, maybe she forgot that her feet were swept off the palace and can never enter the palace again, royal sources disclosed. And following the news of the Ooni of Ife's new marriage, the estranged queen had pulled down the post which she announced, she put on her Instagram page to announce her divorce to the Ooni of Ife. And days before the marriage, the breakup post was still on her Instagram page. And according to palace sources who spoke to Kemi Ashifon exclusively, said Queen Naomi had been trying to get back with the Ooni, and the sources also claimed that the Olori had been begging people to appease the king on her behalf. But when she realized that the monarch had decided to tie the knot with the Olori Mariam, she took down the post. And this was what the post said. She must have thought it foolish to still retain the post 9 months after she put it up, while she ran from pillar to post on who would appease the king to accept her back. She didn't deem it fit to pull down the post. Now, when she knew the king had made up his mind on bringing in his new queen, she pulled down the post, but this is coming too late. Her feet have been swept off the palace and she cannot return there again. That was what the palace sources revealed exclusively to Kemi Ashifon. The Ooni of Ife's marriage to Yeyeluwa happens when everybody thought the monarch has shut his heart to love after his divorce to his ex-wife Zainab Otiti, who is popularly known as Olori Shilekunla, and that was when the news of his marriage to Shilekunla break out into the internet. And for the monarch to further vent his joy, he proudly announced the good news via his Instagram page about 24 hours after he celebrated his 41st birthday, with copious pictures of the 25-year-old beauty who had captured his heart and his cheers. As he said, he waited patiently upon the Almighty, the King of Kings, and eventually did it in the midst of many trials. Shilekunla Morenike Naomi, the greatest asna you can apply on this highly revered throne, with many rules and regulations in the midst of undiluted tradition. Heritage and culture is the fear of God in you, which is the beginning of your wisdom on his throne of Oduduwa. You are welcome home, my beautiful and adorable queen, that he had written. And when Akure-based prophetess came into the picture, many had wondered how professed prophetess would cope with the tradition and cultural proceeding required of her in the house of Oduduwa. But almost immediately, she blended well, as she was loved by all and sundry within the palace because of her meek and respectful nature. Oni's joy knew no bound when she gave the Ooni of Ife a crown prince and his first name Tadenikawo, and this quite expectedly further cemented their relationship, and the Ooni ensured that she never lacked anything. The king reportedly empowered her family financially and got them a beautiful apartment same in Akure, Ondo State. And it's also gathered that while Olori Shilekunla was away for her evangelical work, everything was taken care of. But it was disquieting weeks back when she released an epistle on her verified Instagram account disclosing that she had relinquished her role as an Olori to the youthful Ife monarch. And the lengthy message came as a shock to many, but it didn't come as a shock to some, most especially after her conspicuous absence from the palace on Obi's 6th coronation anniversary last December. And many days after taking a voluntary exit from the palace, a reliable palace source revealed that she regretted posting the message on the social media and calling off her union to the king rather than addressing the issues personally with the king. And after the incident, she was heavily reprimanded by her mother, who many thought orchestrated her exit from the palace, and she is looking for a way to manage the crisis. Those who used to flock around her have deserted her, as she is now facing reality. She, in the company of her family members, had made attempts to visit the king, who was in Lagos for the 3-day music concert held at Muso Center. She has placed several calls to people to help her beg her former husband, but those she called didn't respond well. Many who should have come to her aid are staying away from the issue, as they find it demeaning for an Olori to breach protocols and throw the house in a bad light. Everybody who called to help plead on her behalf refused vehemently, including palace chiefs. Those close to the king are distancing themselves from that reconciliation move. And according to the Ile-Ife tradition, the Olori is not only married to the king, but she is also married and accountable to the people of Ife. And the reason she is still being allowed to hover around Ile-Ife is because of Prince, this source added. And it was also gathered that all the aids and security details attached to her have been withdrawn, and she is running from pillar to post to make sure she regains her home. Although the king is still keeping mum over the issue, but the reconciliation meeting is still going on. So guys, don't forget to click on the red subscribe button and also the notification bell beside it. Stay safe. Peace out.